AMD earnings are out. Is this the first step to get back to $150 a share? Are we going to turn from advanced money destroyer back to advanced micro devices? I'll dig in. I'm going to break down the earnings. I'll show some valuation metrics and we'll look at a chart. I'll tell you if I think the stock is a buy right here and right now. So we've got a beat on the top and bottom lines here. The Q1 non-GAAP EPS, 96 cents, beat by 3 cents. Revenue, $7.44 billion. That's up 36% year over year. Beat by $320 million. For the second quarter of 2025, AMD expects revenue to be approximately $7.4 billion. That's plus or minus $300 million versus $7.24 billion consensus. So we've got a beat on the top and bottom lines and a raise on guidance. A strong report. Here's a quote from Dr. Lisa Su, Chair and CEO of AMD. We delivered an outstanding start to 2025 as year-over-year revenue growth accelerated for the fourth consecutive quarter, driven by strength in our core businesses and expanding data center and AI momentum. Despite the dynamic macro and regulatory environment, our first quarter results and second quarter outlook highlight the strength of our differentiated product portfolio and consistent execution, positioning us well for strong growth in 2025. So you can see from Q1 2024 to Q1 2025, these numbers are where you want them to be. They're going up. Gross margins even increasing from 47% to 50%. Huge jump here in net income from 123 to 709. So up 36% year over year, up 46% year over year, up 476%. Operating income up 2,139%. Diluted earnings per share up 529%. Now, when you look at the quarter over quarter results, you do have down 3%. You can see the numbers here, but up 47%, up 52%. Here's what we want to see. Data center segment revenue in the first quarter, $3.7 billion, up 57% year over year. Now, we've been talking about this, guys, but AMD is a leader in data center CPUs. AMD is kicking Intel's tail, and here's some proof here from the earnings transcript. Here's a quote. Looking forward, we see a clear path to continued share gains as customers ramp up their 5th gen EPYC offerings that deliver unmatched performance, efficiency, and TCO across every major cloud and enterprise data center workload. And of course, we know that Nvidia is the king of GPUs, but there's plenty of revenue out there and AMD can capture some of this market share. The client and gaming segment revenue in the quarter, $2.9 billion, that's up 28% year over year. Client revenue, $2.3 billion, up 68% year over year. Gaming revenue down 30% year over year. So we're still seeing a struggle in the gaming revenue. AMD did close the acquisition of ZT Systems. And I've shared this with you before on a previous video. We've been talking about AMD, but why did AMD buy ZT Systems? It's going to boost AMD's AI strategy with end-to-end system expertise. It also speeds up deployment of AMD's AI chips, adds 1,000 plus engineers to enhance rack scale design, targets $500 billion AI data center revenue market by 2028. Strengthens competition with Nvidia without manufacturing its own servers. And the bottom line here, to provide end-to-end AI solutions. Some more recent highlights here. AMD delivers leadership inference performance on DeepSeek R1. Dell Technologies announced the expansion of its AI for telecom offering powered by AMD. Also a new open telecom AI platform with Cisco, Nokia, and others. Leading hyperscalers continue expanding their deployments of AMD CPUs to power their internal infrastructure and public cloud offerings. So we've got Oracle Cloud Infrastructure, Google Cloud. Tons more information here. You can pause your screen and read through these. Overall, this is a strong quarter. This is what we wanted to see from AMD. Looking at the CNBC headlines here, AMD earnings beat as overall sales surged by 36%. So you can see once again that beat on the top and bottom lines, as well as the beat on the guidance. Now, one thing to note here, AMD forecasts also included $800 million in costs that the company said it would incur because the US limited the export of some of the company's artificial intelligence chips during the quarter. If you recall, Nvidia had a $5.5 billion write-down, AMD $800 million here. AMD is still second place behind Intel, but at Fired Up Wealth here, we call AMD the best of breed for CPUs, specifically for data center. And of course, AMD is the closest competitor to Nvidia for big GPUs, although Nvidia still has 92% market share. With that said, you can see here AMD did $5 billion in AI GPU sales. Both of these are reported in the company's data center segment, which came in at $3.7 billion in sales. So that beat the estimates And data center sales, again, up 57% on an annual basis. So again, this is combining EPYC processors as well as the Instinct GPUs. And again, that overall segment for client and gaming rose by 28%, but specifically gaming sales declined 30% on an annual basis. The embedded segment, which Nvidia also has this embedded segment, this is mostly sales from the acquisition of Xilinx in 2022, declined by 3% on an annual basis to $823 million. So it's a pretty small part of the business, but something to keep an eye on. AMD has large growth opportunities across a diverse set of markets: data center, client and gaming, and embedded. Of course, most of that revenue, same with Nvidia, is going to come from data center, and that's really where the growth is. I covered this earlier, but it's important to highlight it again. And this is a good slide showing you the acquisition of ZT Systems. I like visuals, so I want to share some of these as well. Record first quarter revenue, $7.4 billion, increased by 34%. So this is what you want to see: $5.5 billion to $7.4 billion. Gross margins also improving 47% to 50%, non-GAAP 52 to 54%. Operating income, nice bump here from Q1 2024 to Q1 2025. Also diluted earnings per share from 7 cents to 44 cents. Data center revenue, $2.3 billion to $3.7 billion. Operating margin, 23% to 25%. This is very strong, up 57% year over year in data center. Client and gaming segment overall, $2.3 billion to $2.9 billion. Operating margins up 7%. And this slide sums it up well. That revenue, $7.4 billion, up 36%. Data center, $3.7 billion, up 57%. Gross margin, 50%. Diluted EPS, 44 cents. So AMD does have a strong balance sheet, world-class execution, technology leadership, large and compelling TAM, total addressable market. This is a good visual for AMD data center revenue. And you can see that the year-over-year growth was big, but if you look at the Q4 2024 to Q1 2025, it was a slight dip downward. Same with client revenue, slightly lower than Q4 2024, but the year-over-year numbers are very strong. This is a good visual to show you kind of the struggle around gaming and embedded revenue. The growth, again, guys, is all in data center. So I'm going to show you a chart here later in the video, and it could be volatile. I might show you the chart. It could be up right now. I won't be surprised if the stock goes red. And of course, you'd never buy off these analyst price targets, and you'll probably see some revisions over the next couple of days. But before earnings, we had $175, the highest price target, lowest 95, that average 126.40, 28% upside. Profitability on Seeking Alpha, A. Now that forward PE ratio is showing 22.85 on Seeking Alpha. I think it's slightly lower than that with these new earnings. Now keep in mind, that's a non-GAAP, but I just ran the numbers, and based on the projections, the guidance that AMD is giving us, we're actually under a 20 PE ratio. So it's looking pretty cheap at $100 a share or less. If you're a long-term investor, this could be a great opportunity. You can see right now the stock is up about 4.5% after hours, $102.94 a share. I want to come back and edit this in because the stock's been very volatile since I recorded that piece. You've seen the stock as high as $105 after hours and as low as $97 about 20 minutes ago. Right now, the stock is slightly up about 0.68%, trading just below $100 a share at $99.29. And over the past year, the stock is down 37%. Now, year to date, it's down 18.25% before this 4%, so it's still down about 14%. 52-week high, 187, but I'll show you a chart here in a second. It was actually over $225 a share. In the 52-week low, we did get down to $76.48. So looking at a chart here, you can see some orange text. Those are previous chart days. Back in the bear market of 2022, we got down to $54.57. It ripped to $227, and most recently here in April, it dropped to $76.48. We were buying this stock in Discord. We've been buying it really under $100 a share. The lower, the better. DCA. Right now, the stock is about $103 after hours. And again, guys, the market's been red the last couple of days. I won't be surprised if AMD goes the other direction and goes red. You should see some volatility after hours. This R3 is $120. Of course, to get back to 150, we have some work to go. When this video is done, you can go watch another video that I made. The title is, Where Will AMD Stock Be in 2 Years? And that's going to give you both the bear case and the bull case. But regardless, even at $102 a share, if you look at the data I present in that video, you're going to make money on AMD stock. And I believe there's a strong chance you'll see $150 on the stock either late this year or early in 2026. So if you're a long-term investor, I still believe that buying AMD around $100 a share using dollar cost averaging, that that you are going to make money and you're going to be very happy with your investment. If you're new here, make sure you subscribe. Drop me a like, drop me a comment. Have a great rest of your day. Take care.